Oh, 6 o'clock. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. And let's see, we have the minutes of November 18th and our budget workshop of November 20th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 20th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I will abstain.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Moving ahead, we have warrants 12, the payroll 12P, the Recreation Board number 2, and Cemetery Committee number 1. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment warrants 12, 12P Recreation Board number 2, and Cemetery number 1.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Is that really cemetery number 1? Is that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, warrant 12 was for $10,469.58. Most of that that was going towards the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District quarterly payment, expenses for the Highway Department, property tax refund, Green Mountain Power bills. That's about it. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We are moving on to visitors and public comments. And we have, let's see, we're going to have the representatives from the Brattleboro SeVEDS and Brattleboro Development Corporation. Without further ado, I'll turn the meeting over to them. They're going to give a presentation, and so go for it.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Jen Stromstone, the Director of Programs. I've been here a little bit before. You often have Sarah. And I want to just say thank you for letting us sort of give you sort of updates. We are trying each year to get a little bit better and to provide something that has a little bit more granularity, and for better or worse, COVID has given us a lot more data because we've had to do a lot more work with folks on relief. So one of the things that we sent ahead was the town impact statement, which I'll refer to a little bit more in a moment. But we have some data on what's been going on with businesses and businesses we've been working with. And we're often very cautious about sharing information because it's private, and businesses don't necessarily want people to know everything that's going on with them. But in the case of receiving public funds for relief, for instance, it's already public. And so it gives us the opportunity to share a little bit more detail. So thank you for sparing us petitioning in this year. We only ended up having to petition in 2 towns, which was really merciful given the circumstances. So we're really grateful. The main question we're asked is, how do we help the residents of your town? And I'm going to get to that in a moment. I do want to make sure that I just sort of take a step back and say, BDCC is known historically, it's been around for decades, for real estate and industrial projects. And we're known for working with businesses, and often what makes the headlines are the big businesses that we work with. I hope we're increasingly understood as working with businesses of all sizes and nonprofits, startups and sole proprietors, and also that employment and people are at the heart of our work nowadays. This is because our work is guided by the SeVEDS strategic plan. SeVEDS is what makes us different from other regional development corporations. We are much more about sort of being forward-looking and trying to take a really proactive approach. The funding that we seek from towns kind of makes it possible for us to do this and to do anything about that, frankly. So on the subject of people, according to the census data, which I think gets worse and worse every year, but the workforce in Dummerston is about 1,000 people. So it's a little more than half of your residential population. And what it also tells us is that about 90% of them drive 10 minutes or more. And that means they probably leave Dummerston to go to work. So what that means is about 800 people who live in Dummerston go somewhere else to go to work. And so I'm going to talk a tiny bit about the regional economy, but I really want to keep making the point that while things that happen in Dummerston are really important for people who are paying a mortgage and raising their kids and living in Dummerston, leaving town each day to earn a living is also super important for them. So for instance, last year we worked with employers that provide 25 to 30% of the jobs in the region. And so that's, working on that entire job space is really important in terms of people's options to earn the wages they need to be able to survive here. I will also point your attention to page 2 of the impact statement that we sent, which just kind of goes through our programs. And I won't do that tonight. It's kind of a little bullet list. We also have shared our annual report, which gives a little bit more detail and stories about our programs. One of the things that I think people struggle with is how many different things we do. And it makes it kind of hard to grok, and that's fine. And so we try to sort of make the annual report a little bit more like story-based. Here's a specific example of a business loan and what they did with that. I also want to point your attention to some of the specific programs that are outside the business realm. Our program in the high schools, which is called Pipelines and Pathways. So we're working with all of your Dummerston kids that are in the high school or at the Wyndham Regional Career Center, will have the opportunity or have had the opportunity at some point to either participate in the sophomore summit, participate in what we call flexible pathways, which is basically like a professional preparedness kind of boot camp series. Learn how to write a resume, learn how to tie a tie, how to perform in an interview in a professional manner. And so this is something that it's taken a lot of adjustment for our school partners. They're going through a really obviously stressful and difficult time, but we are adapting with them. We're pretty used to doing online content. And so we're on track to be doing that in all of the schools, or it's already started. One of the things that I also just want to say is that, I will say that we work specifically with some of the businesses in Dummerston. And so you're familiar with some of them and you've heard us talk about them. We work with Hermit Thrush. We've worked with them in multiple ways right now. They have a USDA-backed micro entrepreneur loan with us, and we also provide technical assistance through that. We, helped Vermont Photonics grow out of our space at the business park and grow into buying a property in Dummerston. That was sort of a long-term relationship and a good example of kind of our real estate relationship, but also we help them with state financing to sort of get through the discussion. We also just closed a USDA-backed loan on campfires, helping David Heiler sort of, in a restaurant business and kind of pivot his business approach to accommodate for what's happening with COVID. We put some of this detail into the town impact report that we gave you. I'm happy to cover it, but you can read it for yourselves. But it does enumerate some of the things, that six Dummerston businesses received liaison help directly during sort of the beginning of the pandemic. That was when we really pivoted a lot of our staff away from programs for a couple of months to just be in touch with businesses and doing outreach. So you can read that for yourselves. But I just want to say that I think what's been great for us, one of the silver linings, is that providing this relief has intensified our work with small businesses, but it's really an expansion of something we've been doing more and more of over the last few years. And so I hope that reading through this and kind of seeing the work we've been doing helps you understand a little bit more about that side of BDCC and SeVEDS. The impact report, sort of outlines a few specific programs that I'm happy to talk to you about, but frankly, most of them are closed right now. The relief has the money's been sent out and we're waiting to see what's going to happen next. So I just want to say sort of our role as an organization, because of SeVEDS, we've been growing our capacity, and that's sort of a vague word. What that really means is that we have been in a position to administer programs in a way that are regionally based which otherwise might have been run out of a faraway organization. And we can see the difference in that. So the most recent thing is Rev to Restart Vermont, Technical Assistance. And we ran it, and then we also administered the actual relief here in the county. What that means is that a $1.2 million technical assistance program for small businesses, really mostly went to very small businesses, was administered in each region and didn't just get concentrated up where the biggest organizations and companies are. And that's been a really big piece of what we've been focused on during this relief time, is making sure that money reaches here. State programs, the CDBG dollars need to get into this region. So, some of the other things we're doing, small business succession is part of our regular programming, but COVID has accelerated older proprietors' desire to get out of their businesses. And so we have a webinar next week training coming up. We bring in people who you would normally have to pay a lot of money to have a consultation with, accountants and business brokers. And it's a free program. We have 19 folks signed up for that, but there's, still room because it's virtual, thank heavens. So that's an example of something that's available. I think one thing I want to point out, when you look at that town impact statement, you'll probably have the same reaction that a lot of other towns have had, which is like, 19 Dummerston businesses received paycheck protection program. Who knew we had 19 businesses? So I think this has been a really interesting time, because we're actually seeing a lot of those invisible home-based businesses and things that we kind of know are out there. How are people making a living here? And now we have a lot more data about that. So we're also advocating for more statewide relief. And that's a really important part of what we're on about right now, because we have had so much contact with businesses. Our ability to articulate that need I'm going to interrupt you just for a moment. Yeah.
The time we've allotted is coming to a close, and
Yes.
I just want to see if anyone else
Oh, yes, leave time for questions.
would just like to briefly, in the couple minutes you have left, add anything else. Sarah Lang, and we have Mike Warwick. Any want to add anything?
I am just joining to see how Jen is doing.
Oh,
No, I'm just
okay.
kidding.
Well, she was
No.
so she was interrupted.
I had a meeting that I just came from, actually, and I don't know if Jen touched on this, but the YP group just launched our professional development grant program, where it's a competitive grant program for any YPs in our region to apply, get up to $500 towards a professional development opportunity. So we got 4 applicants that are all doing really awesome things. So we'll see. I handed them out to the reviewers, and we'll see what happens when they come back. But just a pretty neat opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that was super prescient, Zeke, because I was about to sort of punt it to you, Sarah, just to talk for a second about Sarah. Sarah's most visibly known for young professionals, but she runs a much bigger program called Southern Vermont Economy Project. And maybe you could just touch on the most recent trainings that you've done, and then things that'll be coming up in the new year.
Yeah, so one of the programs that we've been running through SVEP is our project development series. So 4 different trainings throughout the year. Project stewardship was first, financial management of projects was second, project management was third, and then we just had a 3-day grant writing workshop. We had about 29 people attend that, all pretty rave reviews. Again, the issue with that is how do you assess the impact? And I have to, write myself a reminder to email them in 6 months and say, hey, did you write any grants? Did you get any grants from that? To really see how that kind of training is actually impacting our communities. So that's the most recent thing that we've been doing.
Great. Anyone have any questions for our guests?
Well, I have a question. So it's more, Jen, you mentioned something about 18 businesses getting PPP loans.
Yeah.
Was that 18 businesses in the region or 18
No.
in Dummerston?
19 in Dummerston got loans under 150,000, and 1 got the over 150 amount.
Wow.
And so, I know.
Wow, that's
19 businesses
impressive.
employ 71 people, and then one larger company that employs 22.
Wow.
I know, this is amazing.
That's very impressive. Yeah, great.
Were those
Good.
the forgivable loans?
They are, well, that's all playing out right now and
Yeah.
not perfectly. So that's a whole
Right.
other, yeah.
Mine just got forgiven.
Hey, yay.
I know.
That's
It
great
was
to hear.
Very exciting.
And actually, we just ran this Restart Vermont technical assistance thing, and like 6 Dummerston businesses took part in that, which is actually like phenomenal. And that was really carefully designed to pay the vendor and not the business or nonprofit, so that it wouldn't basically trigger a non-duplication of benefit problem with other relief programs. So that's been super, and we'll have some really great stories come out about that as it winds up.
Great, good. Any other questions for our guests?
What date did you send the impact report? I haven't looked at it yet.
Sarah's in charge of that.
Okay,
I'll look.
all right. Mike, you had a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that it's been wonderful as a legislator to know that there's such a great partner in our area who's been helping businesses face situations they've never come across, and it's been helpful for us to be able to refer to BDCC, and it also helps that Laura Sibilia is part of our legislative delegation, who's a key member there. But I don't see us getting through this without their help, and they deserve all the credit for helping push things along and into the future, because next year is going to be tough as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Geraldine, I sent that out on November 25th, so a week ago.
25th. Okay,
Yep.
great. Thanks. I'll make sure to look for it.
Great. Okay, thanks very much for joining us and
you.
sharing all this
Yeah, it's
information.
very inspiring. Thanks.
Everyone.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Let's see. Okay, anybody else who would like to be part of our public comments? Or
So I'd like to know who else is on the phone. Is that Lee?
That's Lee at 7.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, great, Lee. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm just going to change your name so that we see who it is.
And Maeve, are you here for the,
I'm here for the rec board.
okay,
We made a large purchase and
Okay.
we are explaining why.
yeah, okay, we've already approved it, so.
Oh. Wonderful. Well, Charlotte suggested that I join in on the meeting, and
yes, we move
I
fast.
apologize that I'm
so-
late. We're packing. We're officially moving into our new home tomorrow. So
Okay,
Oh,
it's like crunch time to pack all of
Yeah.
our possessions before the U-Haul gets here in the morning.
okay. So this was money for, you're planning on putting up a skating rink.
Yeah, we're building a skating rink. The leadership council, we've been trying to focus on what we can do with outdoor activities, and that started back this summer with the walking and biking trail. And then somebody mentioned a skating rink
Mhm.
probably back in August, and a group of us clung to it. We were like, that sounds amazing. And knowing that the normal course of action for our youth is that they get to participate in winter activities on Wednesdays, and they can choose from ice skating or going to the mountain or Nordic skiing. And none of those options are available this year. And we knew that was probably going to be the case. And so we really wanted to get some outdoor activities available. And so when we were talking about it, I kind of suggested that maybe the rec board pay for the liner so that we have the ability to put it up anywhere. So if something came up with the school system being strange about it being on that property, we can find a flat field anywhere and set the liner up. And the boards got donated by Perkins. And then like the pins that hold up the board to make the rectangular frame are being donated by different contractors in town that do like concrete, and we're using concrete pins. And so we're really just pulling together and making it happen. And I'm just so thrilled. But there's still a lot of work ahead. Maintenance of a home rink is a lot. And so you know, it'll be an interesting year, but thank you so much. Not in advance, post thank you for approving the purchase. I appreciate it because I already bought it and it's on my credit card bill this month.
I
So
thought I appreciate that. What size is the rink going to be?
the rink is, I believe we ordered a 90 by 110 and they say to go 10 feet big. So the rink will be about 80 by 100.
All right.
They already sized it out and it fit in the outfield of the baseball field that's located behind the school, which is also like rec baseball field space. And so it fit in the length of the baseball field and then the width of the diamond, basically.
Okay. All right. Well, good
You know,
luck.
we were going to go much smaller. And then once we got blocking it out and kind of talking about, you know, you get 4 or 5 skaters on there and they're going to be crashing into each other pretty quickly. And there wasn't much of a price difference by going up. The majority of the cost was shipping, which is really disappointing. But anyway, so that's the size. That's the answer.
Having spent part of my youth on outdoor rinks in Canada, I certainly welcome this, and I think it's wonderful.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Well, actually, Lori, I don't know if you get the town emails that Lori sends out, but she forwarded an email from me today with a survey of anybody who's interested in offering assistance, even if it's just once. We're really just looking for anyone who's willing to possibly help with the setup or, you know, any clearing after a snowstorm or anything like that. So I encourage you, if you're excited for our community to have this, I encourage you to volunteer some time to just help us clear the rink after a storm. And by filling out the form, it just makes a network so that we then have everyone's email and we can say, okay, big storm coming, who is available? And so, you know, you're not locked in for a day or, you know, and then when it does work for your schedule, that's great. And there's a lot of, you know, small details that we're still going to figure out as far as rules and guidelines. And we're looking at having some signs made saying, you know, rinks closed if the weather's not permitting and we don't want it to get scratched up worse than it can be fixed. So there's a lot of fine details to get figured out, but I have to say Joe Robinson has really taken the reins on this, and he's the one that got the boards donated, and Lance Nieper and Joe are the ones that set it up last weekend and got the rectangle set up and made. So I'm so thrilled that we're making this happen.
Yeah, I saw, Maeve, I saw that survey. You did a great job with it. It's simple, it's easy, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Great.
Actually, I have to give credit. Lance did the survey. I just got it pushed out.
Okay. Well,
Well, thank you so much for your
Good-
time to
good
talk
luck.
to you and for approving the purchase.
Good
Have a
luck.
good night.
With a credit card
Bye.
bill.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. Our road foreman, our esteemed road foreman is in the telephone booth I've been hearing nickels dropping in. So Lee, go, take it away, Lee.
All right, well,
They run out of change.
yes. Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been working on the Better Roads grant, cleaning the leaves out of the ditches. We did end up spraying the equipment with a fluid film to prevent rusting. And then we've been doing some maintenance, getting ready for winter.
Yeah.
And so a little bit on the covered bridge. The insurance adjuster came on Tuesday, met with him, and once he gives his report or the insurance comes back, then we can have Renault start the work. So, and then the options, I think we better put up, or I feel like we need to put up one more sign over there opposite the stop sign, just one that says 11 feet for now. And maybe it might do something, but it's worth a try.
Mhm.
I did get a hold of the electrician. He gave an estimate for running a wire from one end of the bridge to the other and putting an electrical outlet box. It does require pulling a permit through the state, so it's going to cost approximately $500 for that. And then I got a hold of
Why would the state
Sharp.
hit a town, a municipality, a fee for running a wire? What
Right, exactly.
rationale do they have for that?
I don't know. He just said it was very visible, and I don't know what who the permits, if it's for fire, that side of the state stuff or what, I'm not sure. And he didn't actually say what that fee was, how much the permit cost, but he did say that it's going to add extra cost because he's got to pull a permit on it. Yeah, I know. I would think they wouldn't worry about it, but I'm not sure.
Do you have a
To go
ref?
along with that choice, it would be if we chose to put a camera. I did contact First Choice Communication Services in Brattleboro, and they're going to meet me there on Friday and go over some options as far as a camera that just keeps recording over itself with like a 5-day memory. So we can, if there is any damage, we can look back on the camera and hopefully find out who did it. And then the other thing I had talked to them about was a beam. So we were only recording vehicles that were close to the height of the bridge instead of recording every car that goes through. I don't know which one's going to be the better option, but so I think those two things, as far as the signs and the camera, those were two options that I was supposed to look at. And then the third one was the beam the beam that hung out in front of the bridge, and where the trucks would hit that first and then hit the bridge if they continued.
Right.
And I have not checked on the price on that. I thought when Renault was working on the bridge, I might kind of run that by them and see what they thought.
So
I'm kind of leaning towards the camera, but
yeah. So as I recall, we had a conversation a week ago Friday when we had our budget work session. We just chatted about the different options, right? Didn't we? And we were thinking that the beam wasn't something we were really excited about, but we talked about signs and we talked about Dummerston Center signage. Terry, Zeke, am I?
Yeah, we were looking with 3 signs, one for the east-west road, middle road, and one near the bridge, I think, like where he was saying.
Right.
How much is the signs running a piece, Lee? Do you
right.
know?
I would say, depending on what size we got, they're going to run, 150 a sign should cover it.
Okay.
And the time you put a post in, if you aren't using existing and those kind of things. But right now, the last time somebody hit the bridge, or a couple times ago, the insurance company made us take pictures of all the signs that we have up right now. And there's one in the covered in Dummerston Center for it. There's 3 different signs they have to pass. Anyways, right now, before they try to go through it. So I don't necessarily believe that we need another one in Dummerston Center, but depending on how many more you want right near the bridge.
Maybe we need a sign with a little, if I had a magic marker, I could draw it for you. It would be a truck crashing into the the top of the truck.
Right.
Bridge.
I know,
I mean, so this is Geraldine. So we could talk about this for a really long time, and I know we don't want to, but it just seems to me that the point is to have trucks not come down the east-west road. Like that's the line of protection there, to not even have them come down, to already decide that they can't do that up at Dummerston Center. Once
Right.
they get down to the bridge and they've got dirt roads they can't turn around. They can't do a U-turn. They've got to go right or they've got to go left, and they're dirt roads. They don't know if those roads come out anywhere, to go back where they came from. So as much as we can
Some of
help
these
people
trucks-
understand at Dummerston Center that they should not go down that road if they are over 11 feet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lee, am I being unrealistic?
right. Oh, no, that is the perfect spot. And even the better spot would be down by the school and all along Route 5 where they actually come from. But there's signs there for overweight permits required and like 20,000 pound bridges, and they cross those anyways, all the way up through. So they're not reading or they're ignoring the signs. The one in Dummerston Center says, covered bridge 2 miles ahead, 11 foot tall.
And does it catch people both from Middle Road and East-West Road?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's for every truck that goes over, there's probably 25 that turn around in Dummerston Center. Because they make it up that far and then they read the sign and they know better. They've backed into the fire station. One of them did. They, it's it is a problem for sure.
Mhm.
In mostly sense, it's not even just a covered bridge. It's the bridge or the bridges below or going east towards Route 5. They're, heavy trucks are crossing those too, because they think it's a shortcut. So it is a problem. Another sign on the other side of the road in Dummerston Center. So it's on both sides of the road facing, would that help? Maybe for another 1% or 5%, but you're still going to get those trucks that either the driver's half asleep and they're just not reading signs,
Mhm.
or they're just saying that they can make it. That it would be nice if we could figure out who they were and charge their insurance companies instead of running it through our insurance company.
Yeah, so I think a camera is a great idea. I mean, I think we need to.
I do too.
Yep.
I do too.
Maybe we can get more information about what agency is needing this permit, and we could appeal to them, and talk with them.
Right.
Try to talk some sense into them. So
Right.
I'm happy to
I
do
think, I think for budget wise, if we're going to wait, I'm not so certain that I particularly want to wait, but if we want to wait until after July to do it, right now it's looking like, $1,000 to $1,500 would definitely cover it for sure. But I should know Friday as far as, a good estimate on the, what it would cost and have somebody install it for us up there.
So what's the sense of whether we would need to wait until July or we can use funds to do it?
whether we have funds available in the highway budget.
So if we did have funds available, we could get it now.
Yes, but I don't think we do.
Right. Right now in bridge repairs, we, in both categories, I think we only probably are left with maybe like $600, maybe, if I was going to guess. So I don't believe there is money there. I think it is one of those things that, you know, after the winter, you know, I could come to the board and ask them if they, or, you know, we can decide if we think there's going to be funds to take out of a different line item, but.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes our insurance go up, to have these, you know, accidents
Right.
happen,
Right.
it behooves the town to do it sooner rather than later. And so I think there's a good rationale for finding the money to do it, but, you know, whatever.
Right. I definitely, right. I would, yeah, I agree.
So
I think we worked to get our insurance down.
Yeah.
And then something like this is out of our control, really, is driving it back up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's get the estimates. Let's find out who this permit would go to, the $500. Let's work on this a little bit more.
Okay.
Maybe our insurance company would kick in some money towards it. So.
Right. And, you know, they buy backup cameras or pay half. There's grants available for backup cameras and they'll pay half of it. So
yeah.
Maybe it is something that the insurance company might pitch in half for.
Okay.
It's worth checking in on, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than that, you know, that's about all I had. Terry asked me if I could make sure I had the capital plan number, just to make sure. And I had mentioned 170,000 for the dump truck with the wing, and that's the truck that it would be replacing, the one with the wing. And I talked with L&B today. And he was running some numbers, but he thought that number would be fine. I do believe it's going to be less than that, but he wanted to come down and look at the trade also, just to make sure.
Great.
But other than that, I didn't know if you had any questions, but
I guess not.
okay.
I think we're all set, Lee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good night.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you so much for joining us, Lee.
Yep. Yep. Bye.
Okay. Anything else on that before we move on? Okay. Anything under correspondence for information that you'd like to go over?
I did do the sheriff's department meeting this morning, and I'll give you the update on that on Friday at our budget meeting. And the COVID roundtable, I signed up for it, but they didn't send out the Zoom stuff. So I don't know if it got canceled or whatever. So I have no update on that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Just for the public, the sheriff's department is thinking about possibly taking over or providing animal control services to towns. And so Terry's been participating in that discussion, and we'll have some numbers for us on Friday. So going on to new business, the legislature, is it Act 69? No, what is it? Is giving towns the option of holding their town meeting by Australian ballot. For towns that don't traditionally use Australian ballot, they'd be able to do that in this coming March. So, all we need to do is have a vote by the select board to go ahead with that. So
And do we want to have a vote at this meeting on this?
I would say, I think if we had a motion to go ahead, should things miraculously turn around and it would seem safe to go ahead with a regular town meeting. We have until January before we have to really make a final decision on this. But in terms of planning and getting people to getting people, if people think they're going to be able to go to town meeting and amend an article or, get up and have their say, and we go ahead with an Australian ballot, they're going to feel left out. So if we let people know now that we're at least, it's looking like we'll have an Australian ballot, that gives them time to, let us know what is important to them, so we can try to have that reflected in the articles and the budget.
Mhm.
So
There were a number of people that did send emails that were in favor of the Australian ballot. I noted
yeah,
to the town. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm fine with making. So are you saying, Zeke, that if we made a decision, we could also reverse it
I think
if miraculously things
yes.
changed?
yes, if yes, I think as we legislate, we can also rescind our
Uh-huh.
legislation. But I kind of,
I mean, we wouldn't make a decision with high chances of rescinding it, but just to know that that is a possibility is
Yeah.
useful. Mike, were you going to add something?
If I could have permission to speak to this.
yes, you may. I give you
I
the
saw
floor.
this, I saw this on your agenda, so I thought I'd show up to see if there was anything I could add. And what I would add is that there's a lot of options that are being considered right now, because we've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of towns who are struggling to figure out what to do and how to not make things worse or take away the usual participation in town meeting. When we left in the legislature in October, we did leave it open for there to be a Australian ballot for votes. Since then, we've gotten a lot of feedback, and we've now put this as the first bill on the agenda for the government operations committees, that we're starting already to look into this, to hear from Vermont League of Cities and Towns, to hear from various cities and towns themselves about what they think we should do, and that our hope is that before January's out, there'll be a bill on the desk of the governor for him to sign. And among the options are to move the dates. I can say that last year Westminster started their town meeting in March, or actually they're on Saturday, so they turned out to be the last Saturday in February. They couldn't finish their business, so they thought they were going to come back in 2 weeks, and then COVID came in. So they postponed their meeting until June, where they finished the meeting outdoors in Westminster. And they're contemplating again voting on what they need to in March, but then waiting until summer or warmer weather to meet outdoors again, if they get that option. And there are other places that want to do that. There's some places that want to do it on Zoom, and that would allow people the participation. I'm just sharing this because I don't think you have to make a decision right now. And if you do, I think you can change it. But whatever works for you, I'm sure you'll figure that out soon enough. But I just want to let you know that there may be more options early on in the new year. So I'm not sure. There's pressure to make a decision sooner rather than later.
Well, Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. So I guess I have a clarification question. So if we were to make a decision about having our meeting by Australian, or having the vote by Australian ballot in March, and the legislature makes some decision not till the end of January, will that put us in an awkward position? Because you're not making a decision until the end of January?
Yeah, if you're clear, this is what you want to do. I don't think that's going to change what you do. And we're certainly not going to mandate anything. We're just going to put different options on the table for you
I
to
see.
choose from.
I see. Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
I think that, as you said, there's no pressure to make a decision, but if that's the way we're leaning, what's important to me is that we make it really clear to residents that if they want to participate, this is your window. Because people tend to think, oh, I'll go to the information session and I'll, like advocate for this or advocate for that. Well, the advocation window is passed by the time the information session comes. And so we've already sent an email giving people the heads up that if we do this, make this decision to vote by Australian ballot, this is your window to, give feedback.
Yeah.
And
one of the reasons I mentioned this is because I represent 3 towns, along with my new district mate, Michelle, who would be here tonight, except it's her birthday. But I think Dummerston has the highest participation at town meeting of the 3 towns I represent. And you had the highest participation in the last election of any town in Windham County. So people are definitely interested and engaged in Dummerston. And I think if there's a change, it'll be important to make sure that people are well informed about that.
Right, that's our thinking about this. We want to let people know what's going to happen.
We'd have a motion. Wouldn't we have a motion that the town meeting would be held by Australian ballot? Is that the motion that we'd be looking at?
Nobody's made a motion.
No one's made a motion yet.
I know that. I say, but that's the issue that we would be addressing in a motion.
Yes. Yeah. And we can also, we've put the word out. I think we're putting a word out now that this is a real possibility that we're going to do. We can hold off and let more people get in touch with us, or
So you're saying, Mike, we wouldn't get any new options or changes until sometime middle to end of January is where you're looking?
Yeah, I think the best case scenario would be mid-January. We know that between the town clerks having to get the documents published and warned and put out to the public, it's a tight turnaround. So we're trying to do that as soon as possible, and that's why we're actually starting work on it now. So when we get there, or when we zoom in January, we'll have something ready to go pretty soon afterwards. And both the House and Senate are working together on this. To that end, there will be a meeting soon. I think I sent the town clerks where you're certainly willing to view in, or if you want to testify, we can help that happen too. And that's coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
In any event, I can keep you posted and try and give you the latest up-to-date information on that.
That'd be very helpful. Great. So members, what would you like to do?
Well, I guess my perspective has been, and I could be convinced otherwise, my perspective has been that we're putting together a budget that's basically level funding things. We're not changing much. I don't see a lot of issues or topics that where I sense that there's a lot of debate. I would certainly miss town meeting, you know, the gathering there's a whole social piece that's, I think, really important. But the simplicity of making a decision to do it by Australian ballot just like gives me a sense of relief of the, you know, I don't think things are going to miraculously change in any big way by March. And I'd rather keep things on our regular schedule in terms of budgets. And, you know, I feel like our town is working really well right now. And so for me, the Australian ballot feels like it holds us steady. That's my perspective.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
I'd agree with that too.
Okay, Maria, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I do think that we could wait to actually make a decision until the 16th. You know, I don't think it'll make a big difference if we make a decision now or the 16th, but I wouldn't want to wait any longer than the 16th of December to make that decision so that people really understand the window of being able to provide the select board with their input.
I think I'm looking at the opposite. I would think it'd be better to make a decision tonight. That way we can keep getting the word out. Please, if you've got any issues.
Right, because
You
we've
know,
made the decision. You're right, Terry.
You're
So
right,
then
because
it
we're
makes it-
already sitting here, we're all agreeing that this looks
Yeah.
like the best option for us, and why not at this point say, look, at this is what we've decided as a board.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Well, if we're all on thinking that way, then the next thing would be to have a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion that for the town meeting of March of 2021, we conduct it by Australian ballot.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. All right, so the vote is unanimous that we will have conduct the town business by Australian ballot on the first Tuesday in March. And should things miraculously change, we have into January to change our minds. But,
Yeah.
So we'll continue to try to let everyone know that this between now and the end of January, that's the window to let us know what is important to them to have reflected in the budgets or the articles that we will present to voters.
Yeah. So Zeke, I wonder if, I mean, we have such a great website. Dummerston has such a, you know, Dummerston Town has such an awesome website. I wonder if there's some way that we can put on the homepage something that either is right on the homepage or has a title that links to something that kind of lays out the timeline for, you know,
idea.
like working backwards from the Australian ballot vote to the information session to, you know, the period of feedback, so that it's just really clear, and then make it really clear how people get in touch with us.
Right, and we've got to work with our town clerk to figure out how ballots will be distributed. Will we melt them out? Will they just be, yeah, so there are details that need to be worked out. But having something that's clear and concise would be a good idea.
Mhm.
that we can work on.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, in terms of that social aspect of town meeting, you know, depending on how things are in the spring and early summer, I can imagine, you know, the select board encouraging, you know, some kind of outdoor activity, you know, not that we would do it, but that, you know, in lieu of being together at town meeting, we're going to do a, you know, a band and a picnic
Sure.
in the middle of June or something.
Yeah, right. If we weren't so focused on level funding, we could maybe put in a fireworks budget line.
I don't like fireworks.
Okay, all right. There's one vote against it
They're bad
already.
for the environment.
Okay. So, all right. So we'll work on that, getting information, talking with our town clerk, Lori Frechette, about the details.
Great.
Going from there. And Mike will keep us informed of what's going on with this topic in the legislature. So
Yeah,
thank
and
you
really
for-
appreciate
Thank you,
you
Mike.
came, Mike.
Yeah, so, you know, so nice and green in Putney, I guess, you know.
I
just-
know.
I thought sort of
This
like
is-
the Wizard of Oz here.
This is the great meadow by the river, and I use this to tell people this is an example of our regenerative farming and the required agricultural practices. This is a cornfield after it's been cut and then seeded with a cover crop and ready for winter.
Very nice.
Great.
Seems to be a lot
So if
more ready for winter than I am.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to take my leave, and I appreciate the chance to come in and visit. And please let me know if there's anything I can do for you in any way. And if you're going to have an event in the summer and Larry Lynch is going to do the cooking, let me know and I'll be there.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Great.
Bye-bye
Thanks,
now.
Mike.
Okay, all right. Yes, we will have to let the Grange know that what we're planning, so they don't, that they
Yeah.
can plan. Let's see, we have an errors and omissions certificate from the listers that we have. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve the errors and omission certificate from the listers.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And Jack Lilly, resident of Middle Road, is moving or has moved, and he has served most recently on the Connecticut River Joint Commission, and he is resigning from that. So I guess we can accept his resignation with regret. He's done a great job, and he was also a very active member of the Development Review Board for a number of years. So wish him well. Oh, I was going to ask, is there any other new business? I received a note from a resident who was away, but they learned that an appraiser had been, roaming around the outside of their property, looking around, and that was upsetting to them. So they felt that they should be trying to contact or coming, if someone's not home, they should, just leave and not. That was the point. They felt very uncomfortable having someone roaming around.
Well, aren't people alerted to the appraisers coming in a variety of ways?
I'm not sure of that. What do you think?
Well, there's
We have
they
two-
put the sandwich boards up that tells it when it starts, but I thought they were supposed to send us emails out to say, you know, we're gonna be in your area, this is whatever, but they're not doing that. So I
Yeah.
think this is the same one that what you're talking about, Zeke, I heard through the rumor mill very quickly that the only way they knew it was because the cameras and the alarms went off. Am I correct?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the cameras alerted them even though they weren't home.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, huh.
So,
Interesting.
I believe the listers were also told of that one.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, we just have to apologize to people, and I mean, we need to make sure that the appraisers are gracious and, you know, I mean,
Yeah, at least knock on the door first, and if nobody's around, put the card in, and, you know, what I mean, I don't know what. I have no idea. It's just, I was gonna mention it to them when they came to my house, but they haven't been here since that episode.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
well, is there something that we need to do, Zeke, in
You
response?
know, do we, you know, they came to my house today and someone was home to talk with them and give them information. Otherwise, they would have just probably walked around the outside and I would, you know, with no snow to see their footprints, I wouldn't have known they'd been there unless they left a card or something. So,
Wouldn't they be supposed to leave that card so they could possibly make an appointment?
Yeah, I thought they left a card at every place.
yeah.
The
I think-
odd thing is when somebody comes home and sees somebody walking around their house, that's the disconcerting situation.
Right.
Or if somebody's not home to see the pancake sign and there's no email saying, hey, we're gonna be in your area, they just, your alarms start going off and your cameras go.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's going on? There's somebody just roaming around my house.
Yeah, that would be weird, but
Yeah.
yeah. I
Right.
think we just have to let the listers know, and somebody needs to call them and explain the situation. And, you know, I mean, this is a town-wide appraisal and every house gets measured, and that's just it's the way it goes. I mean, nobody's exempt from it.
Okay. All right. So, is there, yeah, so we're pretty much saying that's just that's how it works.
Yeah, sorry for the surprise. And, you know, I mean, I think it is, the appraisers should be able to know when there are cameras. Isn't there some kind of thing that says this house is protected by, no?
No.
You wouldn't know?
No, I wouldn't have had any idea they were even there. You and I walk by there all the time.
Mhm. Okay,
Hmm.
well, I
Yeah.
think it's one situation out of, you know, like
1,000.
800 houses, so.
Okay. Is there any other new business?
Well, I have a question. So I received a complaint from actually a Putney resident about some shooting that was going on all day. And they determined that it was somebody living in Dummerston who was doing the shooting practice. And
Mhm.
so I just wondered, I looked on our website to see if we have any ordinance
No, we don't.
around shooting, didn't find
No.
anything. But what does somebody do in that circumstance?
I guess close the windows and put on some music. I think
Yeah,
is
I think they did that. Their dog wasn't quite so happy
Right,
about it
right.
all, but
yeah.
We don't have a nuisance noise ordinance, do we?
No, we don't.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, the statewide ordinance is, you know, after 10 p.m., you know.
Yeah.
Noise.
Yeah.
But
have we in the past called somebody and said, you know, this is bothering people? Terry, I thought you had once.
Yeah, we had one incident that was going along for quite a bit. It was, the sheriff's department went up and had just, a little chat with them, but there's nothing, there's no ordinances to say you can't, they were doing it before 10 PM and,
Mhm. Okay.
there's,
Yeah, sort of like, yes, it's sort of like having the appraisers walking around the outside of your house. This is something, well, this is what
Yeah.
happens.
Okay.
Come on. That's good.
Right. Whereas a dog barking continuously is a different deal. You get to call Terry Chapman on that one.
yeah. No, we're calling Zeke still. I'm taking to it. Yeah,
Okay.
well.
Any other new business? All right, well, we have a work session on Friday. So I guess I'll see you then.
So I would like to say that in terms of the Zoom meetings, that I'm fine with using my business Zoom account up through December and maybe a little bit into January. But at a certain point, I'd like the select board to switch over to the town account. In March, when I drop off, I don't think it's fair to then make the change. I'd rather make the change so the select board is comfortable using the town account, and we create kind of a new link, a new pattern, but that can happen in January.
Sure, I guess we could do it anytime as long as we have enough notice to put it in the agenda.
Right, and that's why I'm saying it now. It's December, and so sometime in January, I'd like to make that change.
Okay.
That
Right.
makes sense, because we're gonna have to up our Zoom account if we're gonna do the informational meeting and all that. So we might as well do it all
And I don't
on
want to get
No,
involved.
we want it all on the town account.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of February anyway, so,
So January is a good time to make the switch.
yeah.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? All right, see you Friday.
You Friday.
Okay, thanks very much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
take care.